The area where the killings occurred, Christiansborg Crossroads, is now a national monument. Betty House, my father's house in downtown Accra, was effectively the headquarters of the UGCC, hence the commotion in the house on that day. The 6 most active leaders of the UGCC were arrested and detained by the colonial authorities and held responsible for the disturbances and riots. They have gone down in Ghanaian history as the legendary Big Six, who are to be found on our national currency. The celebrated Kwame Nkrumah, who was to be Ghana's first president, Emmanuel Obeche Bilamte and Ernest Akwa-Jay were 3 of them. The other 3, my granduncle, Dr. J.B. Dankwa, who was to become Kwame Nkrumah's greatest opponent, my uncle, William Oforiatta, later to be eulogized as Pawuli, and my father, Edward Akufo-Addo, the future 3rd Chief Justice of Ghana and ceremonial President of the Second Republic, 1969-1972, were the relatives people were seeking for in Betty House on that fateful day of 28th February. So as you can see, I had little choice or chance in deciding my destiny. Growing up, it became evident that the freedom the early nationalists fought for was not only from colonialist and imperialist control, but also from internal oppression. Hence the courageous and principled stance taken by many of them in the First Republic when the nation was gripped by authoritarian rule. This was highlighted by the martyrdoms of Dr. Dankwa and Emmanuel Obeche Bilamte, 2 of the Big Six, who died in prison without trial, and the long periods of political detention without trial suffered by thousands of opposition activists under the obnoxious Preventive Detention Act, which gave power to government to detain citizens without trial for 5 years at a time. To the peril of their lives, they were not ready to compromise their conviction that independent Ghana had to be built on democratic principles. The fight for democracy became the goal of my political career. I went to a state primary school in Accra, and at the age of 10, my father sent my sisters and I to prep school and secondary school in England, after which I took a degree in economics at the University of Ghana. I went back to England to read for the bar at the famous Inns of Court and was called to the Middle Temple Bar in 1971. I then went on to work in France as a freshly qualified barrister with a then renowned international US law firm, Coudet Brothers, for a period of 5 years. I enjoyed very much my 5-year stay in Paris. It is difficult to resist the charms of arguably the most beautiful city in Europe, for some in the world, especially when you're young and active. Apart from a welcome exposure to French civilization and French politics, my stay enabled me to become fluent in French, a lifelong gift, to establish strong friendships with several Francophone West Africans, another valuable contribution to my development, and to gain a deep insight into the workings of the multinational companies that dominate many aspects of the global economy. I returned home in 1975 to practice law, and by 1979, I had formed with a childhood friend who's now an important traditional ruler, the firm of Akufo-Addo, Prempeh & Co., which has proved to be one of the most successful law firms in Ghana. Apart from the standard fare of legal practice, corporate affairs, real property transactions, intellectual property matters, and civil suits, the firm also became renowned for its pro bono work and its engagement in constitutional and human rights litigation. Many of the most important constitutional cases of the modern era in Ghana were conducted by the firm. It provided for me a seamless entree into the world of politics. Democrats of my generation fought attempts in 1977 by the then military ruler, General I.K. Achampong, to reintroduce a one-party state in Ghana. Some of us spent brief periods in police cells and had to go into temporary exile as a result of the threats on our lives. But we still persisted in our belief that a Ghana fully imbued with the tenets of respect for individual liberties and human rights, there is a rule of law and the principles of democratic accountability, was our surest bet towards accelerating development, improving the living conditions of our people, and putting Ghana onto the path of progress and prosperity. I'm proud to have been a part of Ghana's transformation into a fully democratic state. I'm humbled when people say that I had a leading role in those efforts. Throughout those years, from the time when we were seeking to restore multi-party democracy in Ghana and wrestle political power from the government of the National Democratic Congress, now the party of opposition, down to my taking my first shot at the presidency in 2008, I had the good fortune of meeting a wide range of people whose encounter enriched my political understanding. I met young people who were keen to work. I met young people who were desperate to start on the first ladder to their own businesses. And I met young people who were dying to start families of their own. Many of these young people had been to school. Many of them had done what society had asked of them. That is, they had the qualifications, but they remained unemployed. Many who did not have the benefit of schooling were also without jobs and were demoralized as they saw no prospects ahead. I also witnessed at firsthand what years of failed governance had done to our nation. The unprecedented levels of joblessness, high costs of living, widespread and rampant cases of corruption, deterioration in governance and in the quality of our health and education services. I had seen the implementation of policies that hurt and collapsed businesses, and I saw business and consumer confidence plummet as the cost of doing business increased and consumers did not have the spending power to buy what they want. Upon becoming president in January 2017, after 2 unsuccessful attempts in 2008 and 2012, I put before the Ghanaian people an ambitious program of socio and economic transformation, hinged on restructuring the institutions of our governance, modernizing our agriculture to enhance its productivity, expanding rapidly our industrial sector, and rationalizing the financial sector to enable it to support growth in agriculture and growth in manufacturing and industry. It is my view that this is the best way to build a robust economy, create progress and prosperity for the Ghanaian people, and lead the country to a situation beyond aid. That is indeed our goal, a Ghana beyond aid, a Ghana capable of mobilizing her own material and human resources to build a strong economy which can generate prosperity for the mass of her people, a Ghana no longer dependent on handouts and charity. The first order of the day has been to get the fundamentals of the Ghanaian economy right. With some degree of success, we have ensured the growth of our economy, and all the fundamentals of our macroeconomy are pointing in the right direction. Indeed, the Ghanaian economy, whose growth rate stood at 3.6% in 2016, the lowest in 2 decades, grew by 8.5% in 2017, our first year in office, and by 6% last year. This year, at 7.9%, we are projected to be one of the fastest growing economies in Africa. Inflation is now in single digits, down from the 15.4% in 2016. We've reduced the fiscal deficit from 9.3% in 2016 to 3.7%. And our trade balance account, for the first time in more than a decade, recorded a surplus in 2017 and is expected to remain in surplus. My government has also embarked on building a workforce that is equipped and skilled and can compete effectively on the global market to propel our swift industrial development. The countries that have made rapid progress around the world put education at the heart of their development. Ghana, under my leadership, is following suit. We're making sure that every Ghanaian child, through our free senior high school policy, has access to a minimum of secondary school education. Already, the free SHS policy, introduced for the first time by my government in September 2017, has resulted in 270,000 more students gaining access to senior high school in 2017 and 2018 than in 2016. We're bringing legislation to redefine basic education as education from kindergarten up to the end of senior high school, and to make it compulsory for all of Ghana's children. The process of reviving Ghanaian agriculture is ongoing, with a program we have dubbed Planting for Food and Jobs. Beginning with 200,000 farmers in 2017, scaling up to 500,000 in 2018, and a projected 1 million farmers this year, we're providing them with improved seeds, subsidized fertilizers, and extension officers who have been previously non-existent. Through the program, we've managed to engineer a revival of Ghanaian agriculture from a growth of 2.9% in 2016 to 8.4% in 2017, 6.8% in 2018, and a projected 7.3% in 2019. And we have also increased significantly the production of staples. There's been food, and for the first time in a long while, we had more than we needed. Again, for the first time in a long while, exports of food, crops were made from Ghana to our neighbors in Burkina Faso, Togo, and Cote d'Ivoire in considerable quantities. As a relatively new entrant in the League of Oil Producing Countries, we have two options about what to do with the oil. One, to treat it like we have done with gold and allow it to be exported in its raw material form as crude. Or two, use it as an appropriate vehicle to transform the structure of our economy through industrial and value-added commercial activities. We're determined to use our oil revenues to create assets, not waste it on consumption and accumulate debt simply because people will lend us money now that we have oil. We're also very desirous of developing strategic industries out of our abundant natural resources of bauxite and iron ore. We have established by statute a public commercial corporation, the Ghana Integrated Bauxite Development Corporation, to assemble the relevant financial resources for the full exploitation and development of the entire value chain in Ghana of our large bauxite deposits. Aluminum, as we know, is the metal of the future, and we intend to be an important producer. By the same token, we have decided to exploit our substantial iron ore and manganese deposits situated in the western and northern regions of our country to build an integrated steel industry to serve the needs of our country and region. We shall be establishing shortly a Ghana Iron and Steel Development Corporation to spearhead this development. We have also instituted a policy of one district, one factory to engineer the process of rural industrialization, creating jobs in the countryside and halting the rural-urban drift of our youth, which is one of the greatest threats to the coherence and stability of our nation. Our overarching goal to diversify our economy and the modest successes chalked in reviving the Ghanaian economy and creating a business-friendly environment have received major boosts with the announcement made by global car giants such as Volkswagen of Germany, Sinotruk of China, Nissan and Suzuki of Japan, of their decision to establish very soon assembly plants in Ghana with the intention in the medium term of producing their vehicles in the country. Tech giant Google has also decided to base its African Artificial Intelligence Center in Ghana, the first in Africa. US global energy giant ExxonMobil and the big Norwegian oil and gas company Aker Energy have both signed agreements with the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC, to undertake deep water oil and gas exploration and production. Our projection is that from the new discoveries, our production of crude oil will rise from the current amount of 200,000 barrels per day to 500,000 barrels per day by 2024. We are also at the same time not forgetting about the development of our renewable energy and have committed ourselves to make solar energy 10% of our energy generation mix by 2020 from the current level of 1%. Today, Ghana is the leading recipient of foreign direct investment in West Africa. To foster our development, we will look west, east, north, and south without prejudice. But there should be no surprise if we are more welcoming to those who are prepared to invest in our priority areas. There are increasingly loud anxieties being expressed about the close relations developing between China and Africa, including our own country of Ghana. And some have allegedly seen in it a real danger of a new colonization of the African continent, this time by China. It is fair to say that we are all much wiser about these things, and we're going to go into these new relations with our eyes wide open. Nobody is coming pretending to be bringing God's word in one hand and taking our lands and resources with the other. This time around, we will look after our interests in much the same way as we know all other nations that we deal with look after their own interests. We are not the only ones dealing with China, the world's second biggest economy. Everyone is dealing with China, and we're doing so with our eyes wide open. Ghana appreciates the continuing assistance offered to our country and to the financing of our budgets by the American people and their government. Thus, towards the holding of the 2016 elections, the election which brought me to office, the United States contributed some $7 million towards the holding of that election, received $547 million from Millennium Challenge Compact 1, negotiated by the Kufuor government with the then Bush government when I was Ghana's foreign minister. It was satisfactorily performed, which enabled us to enter into Millennium Challenge Account Compact 2, negotiated by the successor Mills Obama governments, providing nearly $500 million United States dollars being invested in Ghana to improve power generation. Nonetheless, the time has come for a new form of relationship between Ghana and the United States of America. We're not disclaiming aid, but we do want to discard a mindset of dependency. It is unhealthy, both for the giver and for the receiver. We want our relations with the United States to be characterized by a substantial increase in trade and investment cooperation. This is the way to develop healthy relations between our two countries and thereby strengthen our economies and raise the living standards of our two peoples. I will continue to urge the current leadership of this great nation, proclaimed as the land of the free and the home of the brave, not to ignore Africa. The Trump administration's Better Utilization of Investments Leading to Development, BUILD Act, which has created the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation with a $60 billion budget for equity investments on the continent, is a very creative and positive initiative. It could have a major impact on U.S. involvement in Africa's growth, especially if the access to the funds is not impeded by excessive bureaucratic procedures. Many people say that this is the Asian century, but I believe strongly that this can be Africa's century. We're rich in natural resources and in possession of 30% of the Earth's remaining minerals. We have a vibrant young population, And although we still have important security challenges, we are more at peace than ever before. That is why I'm excited by the decision taken by the African Union to establish an African Continental Free Trade Area. Signed by 52 member countries and already ratified by some 21, with Ghana the first to deposit her instrument of ratification at the AU Commission headquarters in Addis Ababa, the AFCFTA, whose agreement, when ratified by the 22nd member state, will come into effect and will eventually link all the 54 markets covering 1.2 billion people with a combined GDP of 2.5 trillion United States dollars into a single market. It will be the world's largest free trade area outside of the World Trade Organization itself. By 2050, it will cover an estimated 2.5 billion people and have over a quarter of the world's working age population within its ambit. Imagine the investment and business opportunities offered by the infrastructure required to link these markets more effectively and the opportunities such a market can generate. It can be a solid basis for the creation of wealth and prosperity for the long-suffering African peoples. The future, it may be said, is indeed African. Before I conclude, it is important to state that in September 2018, in Washington, D.C., in front of the Congressional Black Caucus of the United States Congress, I proclaimed 2019 as the year of return, commemorating the 400th anniversary of the time when the first 20 West African slaves were brought to the Commonwealth of Virginia, which subsequently became part of the United States of America, thereby commencing one of the most unfortunate and barbaric episodes of human history, the transatlantic slave trade. The commemoration is a statement of our determination that never again should the African peoples permit themselves to be subjected to such dehumanizing conditions. Sold into slavery and have their freedoms curtailed in order to build up forcibly countries other than their own and create wealth for the peoples of unknown lands to which they were sent, wealth from whose enjoyment they were largely excluded. We intend to use the symbolism of this year of return to bring together Africans, persons of African descent, and all well-wishers and lovers of freedom to strengthen the commitment to ensuring that blots on human history, such as the transatlantic slave trade and slavery, never reoccur. We also want to use the events of this year to solidify our relations with our kith and kin, descendants of Africa here in the Americas and the Caribbean. It should be obvious to all Black people in the world by now that their dignity and standing are intricately bound up with the dignity and standing of Africa. And I'm inviting you to pay a visit to Ghana in the course of the commemoration of this landmark event. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm working towards building a Ghana where people have jobs and decent livelihoods. Ghana is endowed with great potential, where security and the rule of law are upheld, where investments are secure. We want to contribute to the global market at the higher end of the value chain for Ghanaian products. We want to bring greater dignity to the lives of millions of people in Ghana. We want to build a Ghana beyond aid, which has discarded a mindset of dependence, aid, charity, and handouts, and we mean business. I thank you for your attention, and may God bless us all and the peoples of the United States and Ghana.
Thank you very much. Thank you for those remarks. At the Institute of Politics, our mission is to inspire students and young people to consider lives of public service and to serve their countries. And there is no better example of how you can do that in a story of how to make a difference than what we've just heard. His Excellency has graciously agreed to take some questions. We would be honored to have the first few questions from students, if there are any. I have some if our students don't get up. Come on, guys, don't be shy. A very inspiring story, very exciting progress that you're making already, and a very clear vision for where to take your country. Thank you. Do we have a first question from a student?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. My name is Mariana Kumu. I'm a graduate student at the Harris School of Public Policy. You did not say too much about the accountability issues on the African continent, but my question is, if Omar al-Bashir of Sudan were to visit Ghana, would he be arrested in compliance with the ICC arrest warrant against him? And briefly, your thoughts on the ICC as an accountability mechanism, especially pertaining to leaders still in power. Thank you.
Oh, why don't we take the first question and then we'll come to the second one.
Okay. Yes, it's a constant problem we're having. We've taken the view, and we had this when Charles Taylor, the former president of Liberia, came to Ghana at a time when the tribunal trying him issued a warrant for his address. We took the view that Taylor had come to our country as a fellow head of state, covered by all the diplomatic matters, and that therefore we would not assist the court to arrest him on Ghanaian soil. Our position has not changed. That's the reality of it. We are strong supporters of the ICC, but we believe that in these matters, they have to engage themselves in finding more appropriate avenues for bringing people to justice, if you like. But Bashir would, well, first of all, he hasn't come to Ghana, but he would definitely not be handed over to them if he was to come to Ghana, so long as he remains president of Sudan.
Hi, my name is Eseme Segbefia, and I wanted to ask about the Ghana-China deal. And many people are wondering in Ghana if the Ghanaians themselves will receive those benefits that the deal is trying to create. And you've stated that we are going into the deal with eyes wide open. However, I want to know what specifically does that phrase mean? What steps will Ghana take to make sure that the Ghanaians themselves receive the benefits of those deals?
The Sino-Hydro Corporation deal with our country involves Sino-Hydro advancing $2 billion to the government of Ghana to help it finance its infrastructural developments. So underneath the program, we have a very extensive road and railway development program that has been, in fact, when I return home to Ghana on the 10th of April, I'll be cutting the sword for the commencement of one of the important infrastructural projects that are taking place in the north. We're going to have significant amount of money available to deal with one of the most important deficits of our country. The rail and road infrastructure of Ghana are not what would enable us to build a modern economy. We don't have, many parts of our country are not properly connected. What connections there are in a poor state. We have a railway infrastructure that we inherited from the British colonial era, which we've allowed to go into disuse. And as everybody knows, is the most efficient way of transportation of goods and cargoes in any country. We want to revive and build our railway infrastructure. Unfortunately, we don't have the money at home to be able to do that. And this is what has enabled us to come into this arrangement. What will it mean in the end? We have got, we are to pay back the money with aluminum products. Originally, the Chinese wanted us to pay them back with our bauxite deposits. This was what was on the table when I came into office. And I said, no, we can't do that again. We've seen that before in our history. It has not helped us. So what we will do is insist that we will send them aluminum products, i.e., we will develop in Ghana the whole range of refining, smeltering, and then producing aluminum in Ghana and exporting that to China. So what will the end result of the Sino-Hydro deal will be twofold. We would have had a much, much more improved infrastructure. And you know from here and from around the world that the quality of your infrastructure is a key determinant in your ability to grow your economy. We would have also have had a very significant industrial facility, which will be our Bauxite Development Authority, control of refining, smelting, and producing aluminum. So that's the obvious and clearest example. And then the Ghanaian contractors that are going to be primarily responsible for the development and of our infrastructure will also, of course, be empowered by having access to these monies and developing their own capability. So, as far as I'm concerned, it's a good deal for Ghana. It's a deal that allows us to deal with critical deficits in our economic architecture, and does so on terms that are not onerous to us. An economy that today doesn't have a good railway network system, but which in 3 or 4 years will have one, will have an important industrial facility like a Bauxite Development Authority, I believe is an economy that will be a much stronger and a much more creative economy than the economy that we have now. So that is my answer to you. I think that if we do it, and we do it successfully, we will have empowered our economy, we'll have taken it onto a much stronger level, and all of us will benefit from that.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And my name is Colin Stadzi. I come from Ghana and a graduate student at the Harris School of Public Policy. It's very exciting to have you here. Thank you for walking us through those great initiatives being led by your administration. I want to find out, to what extent will these initiatives be implemented or stopped if your party does not win election in the next elections?
We don't want to contemplate that. But in any event, really, if these are ongoing activities, and we're starting now, effectively. We spent the last 18 months negotiating the commas and the dots and crossing the T's and dotting the I's of the agreement, and now we're ready to start. There's another at least 18 months before we have to go to the polls and account for our activities. I'm assuming that by that time, this whole program will be very, very, very much launched on its way. And I'd be surprised if a successor government was to come and say that this is something that they don't want for our people, because I think it's so essential. But in any event, as I said, the possibilities of our losing 2020 are relatively remote as things stand now.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. My name is Edward Hightower, and I'm an engineering and business executive in the global automotive industry. I've worked in China, South Korea, Mexico, Brazil, and I'm also the author of Motoring Africa, a book about how to develop the automotive industry in 6 of the 54 countries on the African continent. My question is, how are the announcements that you've made about the assembly plants progressing? And the second part of my question is, may I have the honor of presenting you with a copy of my book?
Let me first of all respond to the second one. Very grateful it's an honor. Thank you. I'll take the first part. Any time from now, I'm anticipating in fact, it'll be in this week. The automotive policy of the government will be finally outdoored. It has gone through all the processes of agreement that it needs to, the approvals within the government system. And I believe that the Minister of Trade and Industry is getting ready any second now to announce the policy. But I think that the policy has to come before final decisions are taken by people. You must be fully aware of that. But these are the people who have already began talking with us and taking significant steps like identifying land where they like to set up their plants. All that is going on, and the local arrangements that they want to make with their partners. All that is fairly advanced. But the final decision will be taken when the automobile policy, to which they've already been exposed, even though on the informal, is formally outlawed and is then made official government policy so that people will know where to go from there. That's it.
Hello, good afternoon, Mr. President. Akwaba.
Thank
It's
you.
wonderful to have you here. I'm Samia Amu, JG Amu's older daughter. And again, welcome. My question is, Mr. President, for Ghanaian Americans who are living here, what suggestions would you have that we do in response to the recent measures that the State Department has taken against restricting Ghanaians who wish to visit the United States and restricting some of the visas? Any suggestions for us who live here?
Well, the matter is still very much alive. As we are speaking now, tomorrow, the foreign minister who's here with us and our ambassador will be with both the State Department and the Homeland Security to continue to debate the issues. We think that the American administration got the wrong end of the stick, and we have spent the last couple of months trying to explain to them exactly what the realities are. So I'm hoping that tomorrow, the meeting that the two of them will have with both the State Department and the Department of Homeland Security will bring better news for us. But we will cross our fingers and wait to see. But of course, the more, this is a democracy, and the more noise you make, the better it is also. That hopefully we'll get something out of it.
If we keep questions brief, we can fit 2 or 3 more in.
All right, thank you, Mr. President, for coming. My name is Elizabeth Jema, and thank you so much for everything you've said about what you're doing in the country and the policies that you're implementing. I do have a question. When you were campaigning, you talked about doomsor or the power outages, and for the last few years, there's been none of that stuff. But do you see a comeback of these power outages, or the doomsor as it's known over in Ghana? And how is this going to affect the policies like the power plants, aluminum, and all that kind of stuff that you're trying to do in the future?
That's an important question.
Thank you.
One of the things that we have been able to do is to ensure the regularity and the security of supply. We believe that now the disconnect and the disequilibrium in the system, which gave rise to doomsor, has been taken care of. Generation in Ghana now is back to normal. We anticipate that, in fact, that we have excess capacity, which we're bringing into play. We're now exporting power again to Burkina Faso. We're about to start exporting power to Togo as well. So the generating side of it has been well taken care of. And then the distribution, which has been a problem, is also being reformed and improved. We have a lot of gas in Ghana, and we are restructuring the facilities that produce to become gas-fired as against the fuel-fired. All this are initiatives that are on course in the course of the next year. I believe by the end of that period, when this restructuring of the energy sector in Ghana has been completed, we'll be in a very, very strong position going forward and ensuring that there will be that low-cost regular supply of energy that we would require to fire our bauxite and iron ore industries and generally industries in Ghana altogether. I'm optimistic that we will not go back to the days of doom so.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. My name is Albert Ekwamwa, and my question concerns the West African Monetary Zone and the proposed single currency for the ECOWAS countries. And that is, in which way, first, what is the status of the single currency, and in what way do you see the single ECOWAS currency benefiting Ghanaians in a way that the CD could not?
First of all, the status. Some 3 years ago, 4 countries within ECOWAS were charged with the responsibility of driving the process towards the single currency. It's called the ECO. That is Niger, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, and Nigeria. And you see in that mixture already that the 3 most important economies of West Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, and Cote d'Ivoire, are part of the 3 of the quartet. Senegal is the 4th biggest economy, but has not been part of this exercise. The discussions have got to the point where now we must make some fundamental decisions. The most fundamental, apart from the alignment and the conversion criteria and everything, is the fate of the CFA. The CFA, which is the country that is in, which is the currency that is in use in the UEMOA countries, that is the Francophone, former French colonies, as it were, is tied to the French franc and to the euro, not the French franc, to the euro. Ultimately, it means that the influence of the Banque de France on the currency is very strong. Clearly, that is going to be a difficult situation for countries like my own and for Nigeria, who have a greater independence in the management of our own currencies. So that is one of the key decisions that is going to have to be taken by the UEMOA countries. Their view is that once the various criteria for convergence have been met, at least 2 or 3 of the basic ones have been met, it will give them the strength to leave the CFA and come into the new currency. But that is a very, very key decision that has to be made before we can get to the ECO. How will it benefit us? I think that the benefits of it are obvious. We would have, if it was to come about, one currency that will trade in a community of 350 million people, the facilitation that it will do of trade between us. We are the 2nd biggest economy of this 350 million market, very well placed geographically within the community. And if our enterprises and business people have the dynamism and the sense of enterprise that I believe that they have, this market will provide tremendous opportunities for Ghanaian enterprise and for Ghanaian business, and that we would be in a stronger position within the ECO and the community than we are today with our own currency, which is restricted, has a restricted area of operation of 30 million people. It's all the difference between having a currency that you can use to finance activities for a market of 350 million people and for a market of 30 million people.
Do we have a quick last question?
Good afternoon, Mr. President. My name is Debbie Adewale, and I was just wondering, given the recent discovery of crude oil in Ghana, what does your administration plan to do with it? Will you allow the oil to be sold first while crude, or will you build a refinery and then sell it? And following that up, how will you manage the revenue that comes from this oil better than other West African countries like Nigeria?
Well, as I think I tried to indicate in my speech, that we are definitely not taking the, well, what on the face of it may seem like the easiest option is the sale of the oil as crude oil. That is not the path we want to go to. We want, on the basis of the discoveries, to set up a whole value chain of activities around it. We don't have any petrochemical industries in Ghana. We don't produce fertilizer. We don't produce ethanol. We don't produce urea. We don't, generally, we're left in a situation where the oil goes without value. I think that this time round, that's going to be our emphasis. And the arrangements we are making with the companies that are now going to produce the oil, these developments and initiatives have been factored into it. So that's it. In terms of the use of the monies, I'm not quite sure I understand the comparison with Nigeria, and I would like to just concentrate on Ghana. I don't think that I need to speak about Nigeria, which is that we already have rigorous institutional control over the expenditure of our oil revenues. As we speak now, there are elaborate provisions in the law, in the work of our parliament, in the institutions that have been set up to make sure that the oil revenue is properly utilized and that doesn't end up in the pockets of people like myself, that rather it is used for the progress and the welfare of our country. I'm very confident that the institutional arrangements that there are in Ghana will be respected, and when they are respected, they will also ensure maximum accountability for the use of the revenues. It's important that it should be so.
I'm going to take sponsors' prerogative for one quick last question. We are having a number of young people that we work with who are going to be voting in their own election for the first time in the next presidential election here. From your years in leadership and citizen engagement, what advice do you have to our students about what they should be looking for in making their vote in terms of a leader to choose?
Well, I think that, I mean, like in every election, it's not about today, it's about tomorrow. The election is always about tomorrow. And who appears to have a credible program for making tomorrow better, and who exudes a certain amount of integrity and responsibility for that program. I think everybody is required to sit down and make that calculation for themselves before they go and then put their ballot in the box. Who has a program that makes sense for you? You look at the future of America. Who, from the way they talk, their body language, everything, has the credibility, the integrity to make that program real. To me, those are the two critical things that they should look out for, and hopefully enable them to make a decent choice.
We wish you all good luck with your program for tomorrow and for productive and fruitful engagement with the United States. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you
and coming.
very much.
Please join me. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Mesdames, Messieurs, veuillez prendre place. Please rise to welcome. l'exécution de l'hymne de la CEDEAO. Thank you, Your Excellencies. You may kindly be seated. Your Excellency Nana Addo-Dankwa Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic of Excellencies, members of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of States and Governments, Your Excellency Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and ECOWAS mediator from Mali, Your Excellency Jean Excellency Mahamat Saleh Anadif, Special Representative of the United Nations Secretary General, Head of the UN Office for West Africa and Sahel, Honorable Ministers, Your Excellency Mrs. Finda Koroma, Vice President of ECOWAS Commission, Honorable Commissioners, Excellencies, the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished invited guests, Bimvindo, dans la très chaleureuse ville d'Accra. Ce jour, jeudi 16 septembre 2021, se tient la session extraordinaire de la conférence des chefs d'État et de gouvernement de la CEDEAO portant sur la situation politique en République de Guinée et Mali. Il se tient présentement la cérémonie d'ouverture. L'agenda de cette cérémonie comme suit. Un discours d'ouverture de son Excellence Nana Addo-Dankwa Akufo-Addo, président de la République du Ghana, président en exercice de la conférence des chefs d'État et de gouvernement de la CEDEAO. Puis, la conférence des chefs d'État et de gouvernement procédera en huis clos. I now have the honor to invite His Excellency Nana Addo-Dankwa Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana, Chairperson of the Authority of ECOWAS Heads of State and Government, for his opening statement.
Excellencies, Heads of State and Government of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, members of the authority, representatives of member states, President of the ECOWAS Commission, the ECOWAS mediator in Mali, the Special Representative of UN Secretary General for West Africa and the Sahel region, fellow citizens, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome all of you to Accra once again, and I thank you for responding to the call with our deliberations centering on the happenings in Guinea and Mali. We're met today for further urgent deliberations on events in those two countries. Presidents, at the second extraordinary summit on the political crises in Guinea and Mali is a clear manifestation of the solidarity and commitment of the ECOWAS community to the democracy, peace, prosperity, and unity of the region. Excellencies, as we all know, there was a coup d'etat in the Republic of Guinea on 5th September 2021, and President Alpha Conde has since been detained by the military. That same day, we issued a strong statement condemning the coup, demanding his immediate release, and the rest have also condemned the coup. In discussing this issue during our virtual conference of 8 September 2021, we reiterated our condemnation, suspended Guinea forthwith from membership of our organization, and decided to establish immediately to Guinea a high-level ECOWAS mission composed of the chairperson of the Council of States, the Ghanaian Foreign Minister, the Honorable Shirley Ayoko Boutre, the President of the ECOWAS Commission, His Excellency Jean-Claude Brou, the Foreign Minister of Burkina Faso, the Honorable Alpha Bari, and the Foreign Minister of Togo, the Honorable Robert Duce, to assess the situation in that country and report back to us. The delegation went to Guinea on Friday, the 10th of September, met the military leaders, and saw President Alpha Conde in his place of detention. They have made a report to us, which will be the basis of our deliberations at this emergency summit on Guinea. We will receive also a report from the mediator of the Malian crisis, His Excellency Goodluck Jonathan, the former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, on developments in Mali. We are required to take informed decisions on these matters. I count on you, Excellencies, to help proffer durable solutions to the crisis. And I'm confident that, as in the past, we will rise to the occasion. I wish us fruitful deliberations, and I thank you for your attention and declare this opening ceremony closed.
We thank His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana, Chairperson of the Authority of ECOWAS Heads of States and Government, for his opening statement. This concludes the opening session of the extraordinary summit of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of States and Government on the political situation in the republics of Guinea and Mali. The Authority of Heads of States and Government will now move into a strict closed-door session. At this point, we request for all media to kindly please exit the hall. CAPS and the drafting team are to remain for the closed-door session. For member states,
Women issues have always played a role in Ghana's politics. In 2016, after 8 years of rule by the NDC, women in Ghana were simply fed up.
And now, by any through how about could be our 50 and 60. By lunch, you had a bar, yan talk, school fees and so I am to Mintia. 3 pages, so I taught 3 days, Nasa, says I tinty or mem.
You need to ever a food enemy, name me playing. Elevoka Kaba, and we can be a trapping for la, who may think one up for. Ne Elenoto, time Doka Cananyala, or Chitu, or Modobe below per customer, Gakain, a duty Vanabe ever.
Our seniors have been working for 30 good months without a salary. How do you expect a lady who has worked for 30 good months to survive without just a month's salary? 2013, 14, 15, I've heard an old one up with us. And I got in a few. Until now, Rabban, why a guinea?
Metafon, I may buy it, me baton fish. As a for marketing. Yeah, me bear what was me. There be no Pamisodia or empty mammy. A Riania mammy, a food, a Mesonia Sabumi. A free said, do say by me buy the fish, I don't be a sunny to a book. A dinner ban when yes, come, I'm dear Didi. A friend of Papa by him, need you. And one is below those away. And I'm very hard matter BD. Me bang yes, come, I'm was auntie. Said, you man on your doomsday. Abro what the Minaya, I freedom so. May tears me there, Miss Moore. The moon answer me that from Bidim. Mamma, Ada, Adiani, I Maya Wabra, what you, Mamma, what is a
All across the country, the cry of the people was for change. The 2016 election marked the dawn of a new hope. Ghanaians were eager for change and a new direction. The change came, and in Nana Akufo-Addo, they saw a new leader with a vision to transform Ghana. In his first term of office, Nana Addo has shown that women issues play a big part of his vision. He has appointed for Ghana the first female chief of staff and continued in the tradition of President Kufuor to appoint a woman chief justice.
This is the first time a president of the republic has decided to have a woman as his chief of staff. It's never happened for all these years, even in the Fourth Republic. It takes somebody who believes in people and recognizes the value you bring on the table to give you that opportunity. It's also somebody who I would say is courageous.
He's bold, he's decisive, and he's determined to carry his project through to the end. The project is the most important thing in the world to him, and you can see that in everything he does. He will not leave it until it's done.
Nana Addo Akufo-Addo has empowered women through direct appointments and indirect ways that women have benefited from policies and social interventions. He is the second president to appoint a second female chief justice. He has appointed the first female chief of staff and has gone further to appoint the first secretary to the cabinet. He has appointed female ministers, deputy ministers, CEOs, deputy CEOs, heads of institutions, ambassadors, MMDCEs, and others.
He spots talent. He nurtures it. He mentors women. He creates the opportunity for you to excel. As president too, even in the appointments of women in his cabinet and female CEOs, and even young women, giving the opportunity to them. He's shown how much he values the contribution that women bring to the table.
He encourages women. And you see that a lot of policies, a lot of things that he does is to champion women because he believes in women. He believes in what we can do. He thinks that we are stronger vessels. He believes that what a man can do, a woman can do, and sometimes better.
Since 2017, the NPP has put in place policies that have empowered Ghanaian women. These include free senior high school education, which has resulted in more girls gaining access to senior high school education.
I would say free SHS has brought great relief to mothers. And it's a policy that anytime the president is talking about, his first consideration are the women on the market who pay fees for their children and the rural folks. And so it's one policy that even though it is not in my ministry, I find it's a great relief because mothers come to me, I go to the market and the women applaud and say that, tell the president that we thank him. So it is one great thing that even if he did nothing, that policy alone has brought joy to the faces of women. Because we know that ordinarily, children in my constituency, like Otenkwan, who would not go to school, who would pass their exams but would not have advantage of going to the secondary school, are now in Achimota with the elite children from East Legon and all that.
Under this presidency, the kind of educational policies and agricultural policies and business policies we're seeing all benefit women and benefit the girl child. We all know that when you benefit the girl child, educate her, make her confident, you change the nation. Because these young ladies now have a better ability to choose their reproductive health signals. They have a better ability to wait to get married and have children at the appropriate time. And they are proven to bring up their children better. This is why we call it a transformational agenda, because the results of what we're doing now will be seen for years to come.
Now, girls are empowered to go to school. Everything has been provided, and I am sure that this will give the impetus to the girl child to grow and become good members of the society because of the education that they are getting free.
With the introduction of free SHS, a lot of young women are going to be empowered. And this is a very good policy because there is no better way of empowering anyone than through education.
He has listening ears. He has a tender heart. And for that reason, the whole world knows that issues about women are issues of the country. Our national issues are global issues. Let's go through all the SDGs. They are all women-centered. And for education, we show that all the challenges that we face at home, domestic problems, once women are educated, or most of domestic problems are going to be managed. So for me, if not for all other interventions and policies, but only for the free SHS, women and girls are empowered.
14 years when I dropped out of school because I was pregnant. That was in the year 2009. So since then, when I had my first child, I was having this desire to go back to school. Fortunately, I got pregnant the third one. Yes. But after that, I decided I would go to school. So I left the man and I started my life. From there, I started selling to provide for myself and the children. So I took the bold step and I went to so-called Bogame MAGHS Form 2. That was 2018. And in 2019, I wrote my BEC and I passed. I want to thank the government. I know it's not only me that is going through this, and because of the free SHS, I've come back to school. There are a lot out there. To me, it is a good thing. It is a good thing. And I thank the government. I want to become a midwife.
The Planting for Food and Jobs initiative has also resulted in affordable food prices and support for women farmers. Everywhere you go in the country, women have received fresh impetus in their drive for a better life thanks to Nana Akufo-Addo and the NPP.
Papa Akufo-Addo, me tuche.
Papa, me too che. Akufo-Addo, me too che mao.
Frantic for a job. Ama you to no mun say rough. Ebi anapa osole a nto so edwuma bi a okwa. Obenya ne sika bosumu so obenya kakra. Ama nyin say basabasa ni ho bio.
As they say, behind every successful man is a successful woman. With the support of her beautiful wife, the Rebecca Foundation has been in the forefront of several projects in the health sector.
Nana Addo has always fought for the vulnerable. He strongly believes in women's issues. As anyone can attest, his policies on health and education especially have impacted women the most. This has informed the work of the Rebecca Foundation. For example, our work in maternal health and financial empowerment of women have been inspired by his commitment to the well-being of women. I must say he has been our biggest cheerleader.
As a gender advocate and AU gender champion, the president has appointed and provided opportunity to several women.
President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has given the platform as a leader, believing in women and knowing that women are partners, women are collaborators, has also recognized the importance of women in his administration and the significant roles that women occupy in this NPP government cannot be taken for granted. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is the leader of our time and the best president to represent women's interests.
The vision of the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to frontline women in his government is achieving the desired results. For the first time in our history, so many good women are playing a critical role in governance. In science, agriculture, ICT, small business, we see a steady rise in women achievers thanks to the president.
The president's policy to implement the One District, One Factory is policy to aggressively promote industrialization in Ghana. If you look at some of the products, because of this policy, some of us agencies have had to go ahead and champion this policy by putting in systems within our agencies to ensure that industrialization actually happens. And most of these products that are being made, most of the factories, the small scale, micro scale industries that are being set up are actually all headed by women. And women are doing most of the products. You find a lot of cosmetics made out of shea butter. You find a lot of chocolates. You find a lot of chemicals. Even when in this COVID era, most of the hand sanitizers applications were put in by women.
Through agencies like NBSSI, the National Board for Small and Medium Enterprises, Ghana Export Promotion Authority, you have the MASLOC. All of these agencies are working to better the lives of women through various schemes that they implement. If you talk about GEPA, we work with women exporters as well as all exporters. But for the women exporters, we have special programs for women exporters in collaboration with other agencies, international agencies, exposing them to the international market, building their capacity, looking for markets for them and hand-holding them through all the processes that they have to go through to get to the international market and earn the necessary foreign exchange to help build our country. All of this is being done through policies that are laid down by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his government.
When you look at our SMEs, for example, support for SMEs, looking at NBSSI, MASLOC, Venture Capital, NEP, they all come with funds to support women. And with these funds, for example, I would say with MASLOC, 80% are sent to women to encourage them to develop their businesses and to be able to take care of their homes. So as a government, we are women-centered, and any policy that we have done, we have women at heart, and the women are just benefiting from such policies.
I consider myself very privileged, especially being a young girl from the northern part of Ghana, where women leadership hasn't really sunk down to the people. It's given a lot of girls in my part of the country hope. It's made them optimistic. and it's kind of encouraged them to go to school more, hoping that one day they could either get to where I am or get to a better place than where I am.
The president is extremely committed to women's issues. He's demonstrated that in various areas where the equality and access to opportunities for women have been at the forefront of his agenda. I've witnessed this personally and also professionally. He listens to us. He cares about what we think.
When COVID-19 struck, the president, through the National Board for Small-Scale Industries, provided support to several women and women-owned businesses.
In March 2020, at the height of the coronavirus pandemic, businesses were failing, some were losing their working capital, employees were being laid off. The president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, in his wisdom, came up with the Coronavirus Alleviation Program, a fund to support micro, small and medium enterprises in Ghana. In May 2020, the fund was launched by the president, Enidasono Abba, to bring hope to micro, small and medium enterprises across the nation. To date, 120,000 micro, small and medium enterprises have benefited from the fund that the president set up in Ghana.
For women close to the president, his persona drives action and progress. He has mentored a few women who are today holding leading positions in government.
When you're working for a president who understands, believes in your worth, is willing to promote and create the conditions for you to excel, he will not spoon feed you. He will create the opportunities for you to deliver. It's up to you to also step up to the plate and deliver. And several outstanding females in his government have done that, even against the odds. And so for me, we couldn't have had a better president than Akufo-Addo, who genuinely believes in creating space for women to excel, has demonstrated it throughout his career and continues to live his principles and beliefs. It's not just lip service for him.
He's so passionate about women. He encourages us, he urges us on. He's so strict to the point. When you go wrong, he will admonish you. When you are right, he will encourage you. So this is a man who is a champion of the ministry.
He treats women with respect, and he has a unique ability to put women's issues at the forefront and center of any issue. Naturally, he admires women achievers and believes strongly that if you give a woman an opportunity to perform, she's not likely to fail. That is why, as a lawyer, he's known to have mentored several women who occupy or have occupied very high offices in this country. Naturally, he likes debates, critical thinking, and always says the perspectives that women bring on board is always unique.
In 2016, the NPP promised to deliver on several fronts, and they have delivered.
Women, have benefited a lot. We have a lot of single mothers who have children, I'm sure have been thinking about how they can enroll their kids in school, not having financial assistance and all that. So this has gone a long way, to help them. At the end of the day, we would have seen a lot of, kids on the streets.
The NPP is seeking a fresh mandate to do more for Ghanaian women. Beyond 2020, the party promises to make life better for every Ghanaian, young and old, no matter where you live in this country. Let's give Nana and the NPP 4 more to do more for you.
Ekosi saying on Asempa FM.
In the throne, set Mamma Meniswa Trembepo, a hina memoa efi beba, memoa efre rade, the obosoro ne asase. Out of no Yamunia Kwaba, Ekosi saying Sony on a Tuesday afternoon, 30 minutes after 2, live on Asempa 94.7 FM. And in the day, the Kanya will do a feed to high Mamunia Kwaba. This is Ghana's biggest and the most authoritative political, social, current affairs talk show, Ekosi saying live on Asempa 94.7 FM. All talk all day. We are live from our national studios 355 Fanofa Street in Kokomlemle, Accra. Medidio say bonsu, Mejina team Nina Nemu, Edi Akwaba Shonko, Amamunina. And that team is made up of Dominic Isiabo, the lead producer of this show. And he's ably supported by Nana Chumberema, Nana Kwadade Urenchi, Jackson Intiamwa, and Eric Opare, baby na friend DJ Yeyo, and I feel Queen Star in Japan. And they make up the team behind Ekosi Say, and I'm privileged to speak on their behalf. Yeah, the nasa sonko mamunyina ebia nne de de kan ya won so do afidie ato ha efi sambe kopim se no nsia ne fa ebebo ye nchefa se de Ekosi Say ebremo de yakotwi eba abreman ebusa asem tiawa Ekosi Say me did your say bonsu Fremi Obi. And I want you to get into that groove and be expectant to want to receive from the throne of grace, from the Most High God. And I would want to pray with you. And to be in that expectant mood. Na as we begin another show, another day, a Tuesday afternoon, the 7th day of May 2019. You know, as Samuel carried the oil that made David king and did not lose his direction until he found David, God will order somebody who is carrying your breakthrough to locate you today in the mighty name of Jesus. And today, God shall be there for you at every point of your need. The blessings of God shall not pass you by. His glory shall surely manifest in your life. May those who stand on your progress stumble and fall. And may all the curses from your enemies be turned into blessings in the name of Jesus. Let me get an amen to this one. And God shall be there for you at every point of your need. The blessings of God shall not pass you by. And that's very powerful. The blessings of God shall not pass you by. His glory shall surely manifest in your life. May those who stand on your progress stumble and fall. And may all the curses from your enemies be turned into blessings. In the name of Jesus. Say amen to this one. Enti sum fagidie sum yoma beko yama 30 minutes after some 32 minutes after 2 Ekosi Say so ni and then some go apono so edoso na me de aseda edi kan ebema ye na boafo enti feco spray starch MoneyGram African Queen Mackerel, there was CB Men and Women Capsules, Omobuaya Papa, Echelon Engineering Limited, Sasso Insecticide Spray and Coil, Kojak Pharmacy Limited, Roma Insecticide Spray, and a Franco Trading Enterprise. What's the phone, Papa Fie? And we are live on Facebook, more Facebook. And just search for Asempa 94.7 FM on Facebook. Now, also for comment. A go bit much live streaming, and so Francophones are that Romania, the live streaming, no Ebram on Facebook or Twitter. Follow our live tweet handle there at Asempa 947. More Instagram. You can follow us as well on Instagram, Asempa 94.7 FM, or a message be our say a kind MAWA. Your WhatsApp line a 0546 382 287 0546 382 287. That's our WhatsApp line. And to keep the messages coming through, and I would share your thoughts with the rest of the world. The show is live on the World Wide Web, myjoyonline.com and adomonline.com. Thanks for joining us and good afternoon.
Ekusi say on Asempa FM.
Enti yɛde some segment no ebebremo enche yewia enne yewo exclusive one-on-one interview enra me share mobo say enne yewo big interview bi a yɛde ebebremo. We'll be speaking to the minister in charge of trade and industry, Honorable Alan Kojo Tremantin. He's our guest on Ekosi saying in area. Inti Honorable Alan Tremantin wa beka yensa e studio ha. O question bia e de mano. All the flagship projects under his ministry, including the One District, One Factory, Emun Sensem saying akwa kosi trade in Ghana, oba ye nuanume ye retail trade industry sector. Saying anyoma eko efa ye dwedie ho e wo man yi emu. Ene yene Honorable Alan Kojo Tremantin ebedi san komono ene chane nso mayen ba wonim say Standard Chartered Bank share ama ya the digital banking person yoma very simple edema into wonim say technology nti ene nyoma na wo beye bibia with your bank was say wutu anamo free office eco bank san nyoma ni etwam enti ene Standard Chartered Bank at the banking to another level. And how well is Standard Chartered using technology to solve or banking problems or into a customer of Standard Chartered Bank. Ebia what drain who's also could be a bank account. Listen to why you would have to do business with Standard Chartered Bank. And you benya won penny for studio ha near Timmy anyone at the income. Some of the innovative products on Modiaba to make banking very, very easy for you. Na it's all part of this complete package. But most importantly, celebrated your friend World Press Freedom Day. But amongst other things, Nyoma bi eba up Sawsha media freedom in Ghana seems to be under serious threat. Ebia kasa it is somehow through the actions or inactions of government. Into no crepe and me say what I mean story I make it round say our own Manasseh Azuri Awene and Tata Manphobia Tata no after the documentary Militia in the Heart of the City eba up and all of that in Sema Abubo eba Nansayemu what EIB correspondent to Wapa East region and in Samoa Atono. Even before these two issues, no, na Yehu Ahmed Swale die, Yehu dia to ya yenuya ba wa Dom FM or Hima Sechiwa and a host of other examples. Of course, in recent times, no, okay, you stand and cry on the World Press Freedom Index. You drop it from first to be third in Africa and in the world, in Swababeda by 27th. Inti, all really is not well, but government role our play in Sadie and we would want to ask some of those critical questions. Now, ya share why and for government, no, nyoma be na wase omo ya omo nye. And what are the things they've done over the last few months, years? Idea baby drew baby yedui. And we will be speaking to the information minister in a moment. Na yetumi edin komo and obeka ye babe toja say even the national security minister play a role and yenya ticket any safe passage edema Manasseh Azuri Awene ema ofri Ghana ha etumi de nani etre another country for safety for no one safety any ade akwakoye nsem bebre entiende ye be call sansem nem etimi edin komo ye say o adwenkyra unso betimi de adwenkyra brand 0546 382 287. The last time any honorable Kojo upon Kroma edin komo was on that very day, the World Press Freedom Day. On a kasai from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Na a statement around the ministry issue say omo beshe a creative media capacity building fund biya wo ho ena afe a mechanism to safeguard journalists any in safety and all of that. And I'm signing in Komobio na yenti after some common in Sembebrina na Abubaba on Abuko Jopon Kromakwa by Kosi saying Sony.
Obi me that's you next saying.
Yamia do me hoye panam patons where.
Yamia do me hoye my mincha with T4 ni na so
a tier 4 edge so as a government, and of course the NPP largely are considered say more party more media friendly when in government more neoma be in 2001 repealing the criminal libel and all of that. Ain't Mekai article even Professor Jampo Etroye, and he was at pains the air courses here in our country. Saying as a government moje the air course kojo.
Say you can't the air course I was say specify kakra because you were say fact na bi o ha BBS ye nyina ye nim yetu ho na monkra bi o ha obi kase BBS ye nyina kra mpo ye hu ye ntie ba wo se apoto ni na egum na se be yaka achim obi ti amanone o mo yes rankings o ti amanone no titi sansem ni na o se okay Ghana ranking no kra ye ntisu mienu ana miensa but before I bet you bet to me aye bibia na o se etumi hu se dia ye koso ni nti e bia ye nko no specific.
Okay, in the specifics maybe
yeah, go ahead
so yeah say is government aware say at a point maybe last 2 months after the airing of militia in the heart of the city documentary, you know, our own Manas Azuri Awini had to leave this country for no any safety. Abanya aware say bibi sa akoso.
Mpachon sana melebe man obi temi pa.
Meteo.
So what can I say after Minia Manase documentary he had to leave the country for his safety, and is government aware? Mekacho say no. Ubisa question is Mekacho say no.
Okay.
In fact, Manase last 2 weeks or so, Meneno Shia or National Media Commission, a bribe call, Yasame Wa Yedi Bobo Kakra, Menini Shia, Yichi, holding Comonia, there are no Kenan Samson, any Pennyfu Fumicha, any Adenina by. One can be or say he had to leave the country because of his safety. That was as last 2 weeks ago. I mean, in Isia or NMC. And of course, a month ago, on no one casa, Emma, Mamin can say, a buying asote say, Ubia threatened, and the National Security Minister, ADNM, arrangement say, yeah, signing of protection because the safety of journalists a key MIA as a buying your mind. Press freedom, freedom of expression, safety of journalists a key mind. Tiabrebiana was say making sure say simple yeni century ni bi nyadwen na say obi any century ni bi nyadwen obi wo minimum pobi wo nedwuma waye ho a eni say do threats and violence and I say even their to yenia amedi eni say ekosa nti abra o ma ya so tie no system no through the National Security Minister and making sure say he providing with police protection. Indeed, me brief me wo and say your man no kwan kra mo no ankasa selected police persons or you comfortable with. And na you assign him say omuhwe mo ne ho ban because ochina say bibi koto na bi obi be ka say na dwuma ye nti na yare hwe han ama say bibi akwakoto na and ya dey aban no taking it very seriously. Indeed, my mentor aggressive kakra ora adeti ono so o say o ye story bibi ye nkofo eko ni fie e wo ho no me ankasa last week Friday me ni share me ni management of EIB network share I'm saying no akrampo me sign you omo share on the sidelines of a program. So apart from basic protection adwumako na hwa ya mano no their police force also omo ye ma ye hwe ma sisi utumi eko back to ni fie ni ade no ye nhwe ni ntu ho anamo enti eyade hia oman no hia ban na yetu ho anamo. Now after you provide this as security no emano no ekire nkomodie mu ena for example me dia mwankasa mumpenifo ni bi wo multimedia catcher me so oko South Africa oko akokuli of South Africa enu ati no ena me say Professor Kakari from Media Foundation for West Africa. Them so call a program or baby or nowhere trim say say no was so journey for the safety in Kikaone there. I say me if it is time Professor Kakarika and pay my friend one penny for any say. I was say multimedia because assembly why you can't to a bonting will be at or the nam. Ye can you be tia brochu what to multimedia. So a yampa na mintis a multimedia officially akasa. The Martin say Manasseh lawyer and a confirm first part na say be threatened the National Security Minister man police protection, which is true, a fact that you are part of it. Indeed, last week, say you provided security to some journalists, but me Muboti. Okay.
Yes, I remember.
Yes, that was what I was referring to.
Okay.
Until you aware of it. She says a new dimension. I bear two parts. Two parts, and one part to say multimedia as a station, and there was a modeno ekote ewa brochiri. Mitieti emusu a multimedia for also say a media foundation for West Africa NGO for be and almost say o modeno eko abrochiri. But me na yen kan fo ano e was say clear on the ekoso na say bambo bia na say bibi wo ho aye ye de boa ye nuanom centralfo nyina ya ye emanate na ne na so. Enti we continue to be committed. There was a buying and no yedikan aye you're providing with police protection. Nenya dia ye de babe to abontia babe kano any more details near there. And we continue to work to ensure say Central for work for my freely. And I think say generally Central for be obia yenejuma with the freedoms and that are associated with it.
And to clarify a few issues. Number one, and it's a buying was informed. In this case, by Manasseh and Kasa say we receive threats be near there. Arrangement in your police protection at the man.
No correct.
But Abai was not aware, say subsequent to providing our police protection, no Manasseh at a point had to leave this country. And they are buying aware.
Yeah, aware say he traveled abroad. But at the time of travel, and even as at last 2 weeks, when Miankasa Minisia or NMC,
yes,
Obiam Beka say he traveled abroad because of threats on his life. In fact, the impression we were all given earlier, crying is yes, Okukuli off outside. Then Michiano, meaning it didn't come out like general, it never came up. But
Professor Kakari, Professor Kakari, as a person, a huge personality in the communication space and all of that journalism space, and would you think, say Oninyina Swobia and Kobeba out on that platform to make the claims he made? Say Manasseh Ifriha.
I've not even disputed or argued with Professor Kakari as a Mokai. I mean, first of all, I'm saying no, because on the Media Foundation for West Africa platform. Indeed, my information is that and now we associated with Manasseh according to a
okay.
So whatever details is privy to, no, me say I'm not privy to those details. But there are many cases when they say there was a buying here when anything is brought to our attention, and if there's any specific information, I mean, say Omobema. Abayin Akatia in charge of all of this already, to ensure, say, even though we disagreed with our interpretation of the two, ADSU or Christian Bocastle, we disagree with our interpretation, and Yakoya Nim at the home petition, even though we disagree. Your responsibility is to make sure, say, UBI is safe. And we're living up to that responsibility.
As a surprise to governments, if indeed now it was a Manasseh free Ghana because of threat on his life, would that come as a surprise to you?
What will be a surprise? Abra, police protection, and I'm making sure, say, even though we have a disagreement, Ubambo will be protected, what will be a surprise to add is before Frokosua, Oma ebi obi asonte. And then after the fact, later, this is about even 2 weeks after the fact, then we now come up with a new way, say, according to Nukrane, because of that fact. Because it creates an impression, say, even CIA security provided any mechanisms were probably not enough or whatever. But if it wasn't enough or something, I think it is will be better draw your attention to it. And day in and day out, the multimedia and penny voting, come on, phone, back and forth, there. So if there's something substantial, is it the but the most important thing they said, I will say, and I want to make this clear, say, we should not become a society, uni century nyadria, escalate could do issues of even intimidation and violence. And no can be a coordinated mechanism for the safety of journalists. And no, for me, it's the big picture. In terms of the nuances, what are the facts? Maybe na may distinguish a choice. Be will be can as to whether a fact in at this point in time. You know, Babos are canning album at the and all of that goes to affect your ranking, your standing. Into what we have to do, we are doing that. You have also provided the necessary safeties for Central for yet more chroma say, and you have also put out the word say, Yankase untumini Central in Yadrin. In fact, we are in a democracy. We encourage say me as some make us as Minister of State. So be name Yadrin. You are also probably will get on your show and also be expressive baby on one Yadrin. And then talk a Yadrin. A Dudwa drink to member. Saso na wo obi woti ho ye adwuma se wadwuma na wo ye no obi sususu se wo ho nsusunye bi a on also has the right so obeka se we ono onya adwen wo even though we are central, of course your work can also be questioned and criticized. That is what we do in a democracy. And while people are entitled to disagree or to criticize, it should not get to the point where for life ni idea be threatened, and the state will do whatever needs to be done to ensure say you be protect the essential for Ejuma Ghana memo hase.
Would you say personally as information ministers we are disappointed because it seems there is an impression building up, if already some building here say your government is anti-free speech, anti-media freedom. Some time ago, people associated your party, the NPP, to the fact say, oh, mope media, moma media need the free space to operate and all of that. But Siciano, Sadiano S, whether real or imagined. Am I disappointed, Kaka, personally?
No, it's something you would expect in a democracy. There will be various views. In Tiano can't put any problem. But we introduce elements in a few minutes enka yembo boso. Anti-free speech, anti-media freedom. Sanya wa kind. Saban bia bagana memo ha say ya. And as a political tradition bia, they bia ye encourage media proliferation, any expanding the frontiers of free speech. NPP abai. Nana Danko Akufo-Addo be the Attorney General, our President Akufo President, and he repeal criminal libel law. Sabreno, na say who can send a libel or sa. Not only the civil side say the assembly defamatory say what come on. Nancy in tema NGO bi ko kan asem fa fa mami modi imani ko kan asem fa ura keki sapon ho egu ni ho fi. Nsem o mo kan ye no essentially na asem o mo patch ni say akoye say company ba ko friend of fuel trade are involved in the energy sector no. Ura keki sapon na nsa wumbi and ono ani o mo negotiate nti sebe obo mine krono. That was the impression that statement created. And so if we actually omo say oman kan yi no de omo ye ne say omo twensan tete na oman pani Adanko Akufo-Addo ema ye ni criminal libel in fi hona and could be to me taking omo on under criminal libel crampo manka will be to me ko defiase because of sasem nekeke oman pani Adanko Akufo-Addo ema ye fi ho. That is not somebody who is anti-free speech. Right to information bill at that parliament almost 20 years into me pass here. Only oman penny or buy na pempens or share say mon pass now there's nothing to be afraid of. And to say a car buy a year for free speech and for media freedom. I genuinely believe say a NPP aban. But free speech and media freedom does not mean so can semina wutia obin to me kase dia ukan and weti. And I say bia any deem obi we century o can sema any so bia can be. That's not what free speech and media freedom means. In fact, do I think that na democracy na ya practicing and I make us say me kasa me be over the other side only me nya adwen ono so to me kasa o kwadwo wakasa ne mo ma ha de me no nya adwen no so akere na asem na oka no ni nyina so de ayem pen say e ba be ya tem didie e ba be ye insinuations and name calling and now say be degenerating into violence. Well, studio that try say degenerating there. We stop here. We come later. We make sure say go for apologize to each other. In this administration, MPP tradition, the government of Ghana, successive administrations, we are gradually pushing the frontiers of free speech and media freedom. But also I will see a guy who say threats on journalists. And I say to trust a man of woody central for no. If you are say a check, men kai will be our few decades of abesing kono. I mean, Ube kai o man will be there in for the yanko territory office and kick out all sorts of issues. Into a idea any new but a year unhealthy and there was it to me kutia. So the akoba beye Nancy Tem say. And what kind of reports near the Uncle for Kaina? They be say a non-state actors. And yes, I buying any secretary and threatening journalists be an RBB. But there was a case, for example, I'm saying, Miami by if you have a report or baby, and for a year to my or more assaulting. Many are something crying and even court compensation man. To both a non-state actors be brave, be a private person who could cover an idea or baby. No matter what so there's an intolerance at the media beyond uno more disagree intolerance ebe mo be threaten obi a bibia no pena me team ni Felix Kwachifosu or say some time ago be o can say being for friend who feel threaten near there intolerance against the media no I will see to me share na ye nippon in the bad and nonti na yeso ye this coordinated mechanism no about no so that even we essential nippon na say Bibi touch him out with you where to quickly report and get the necessary kind of protection. And as I said, Centroni Biko Kase, ya threatening me, ya attacking me. There's a mechanism I bet to me approves Oampa. We are associated with the Juma Oye into a attack on journalists. And I say where they will be one auto car kofo be now some anabo so it has nothing to do with Central Jumano. Into yen kind kahuno china be the ababeti ranking so on the world platforms. And as to whether we be characterized as disappointing or is whatever idea, I would say in a democracy people have various views. The fact is that there are a lot to push the frontiers of press freedom. The fact is that people are also challenging journalists for insema or more Canada or more. The fact is also that it be also still continue with our threats and sometimes violence against journalism. And the fact also is that as a state,
and one other fact, probably, under Mwabai and under your watch as information minister, you're ranking as number 1 in terms of press freedom index, you're TF number 1 in Africa, in the world, and so you're the above from. That cannot be a good statistics for you as information minister. And you'll be able to say, beyond, say, Kasano, for example, or more Sunday manassas are threatening text messages, or more Koko attack yenuya at the TFA, Upper East region, a day and a morning by to practically to get Sanko phone and let them face the full rigors of the law.
First of all, the fact that you mentioned is the case. Your ranking, no so and so we follow reports in Nara or more so to say ranking, no. The dia kotinya me mwate pa ni yinia swali dia etono. And no remains a major dark blot on your records as on mine. Yenina yehwe nim say security apparatus no. Between investigation no every na ni police abone no ya che no ene mmara ene nedi baby amasama make can say ban security issues we are all responsible so we see provide information conform yes ade no nipa nimu mo Ghana ha say it cannot be so be for the nsegu ne bo say ye nka bibia nkyere police ba police nkɔhwɛ ye wo nkɔfo okrum ha say your information nti ye bɛkɔ so asre so mo make this information available to the security apparatus even whilst you push security apparatus and say omo Kenya omo investigations ne mu na say na say ntemo mo ye arrest ba ko mienu bi but say ni na we pay who show say yes or mate ada information o manya no de ye adwuma information ye wrong on be mistake but ye show msapo munsu so mo konko mani no ntumi get to the bottom of that one enti as we continue to push say investigative and security agencies na nyomo de no at the same time so we be continue so as the general public so information for mom na mom adwuma ni we pay baby also no so we say Kenya ye education ni mu ye mo bia atufu ye ni bo hunde rule say the journalism is not a crime central adwuma enye kronobo eye two parts part ba ko ne say ye se kohwa ade beka de akohu ye no no abeka ye tosu mienu no se we say ye mu pensempensi mu a wonu ma wasem no hu nimde no na from no ma ba be ye mu pensempensi mu ma se woni sentro ni no nya adwen a wo ho akwanya se wo so wo express se ade we ye no nya adwen wo ukohu wo ba ye no si bi ene no bo ebra ana se akomi nkyeremu uhu ba wo kyeremu no wo si A-1 wo so wo ho akwanya se wo kyere wadwen but ni se beye atemdidie ene ni se beye se afi ye kwa kobo bi ananse ye kwa kodi etutrasem sa education no e wo se ye to aso ne ye but utu ajamu afo no so na utu momonefo obi me ne ka say ye call National Media Commission and say me see wo dem ho nyina no wonte sa ban ni pe bia pa bonte aba beka and so ne central for the radio so say abana monto a otu no useless baseless Emma odessa ya ma odem hu nyina krampo no bunya central for a eba beto abonten ade na sikan ni fen nti wasa ye tu Ghana for say emfa wonsa nkoka central ni woni ne nyadwen a krewadwen state utumi kiro no krata wo utumi publish rejoinder dodo atin chamembo no at the same time so no ye ni nuanom so central for no so enkasa say ye sremonya ado say ye sise bibi say ye nyina ye de ye adwuma te say bia yakọ parade ye si obi amfa ha enye say wo no watie si say wo nam baby ye kan wo so wo ye central into afa ho ebe ma police ni bia na soja ni bia kwa akoma handle ni nyina enya asem say hey ya bo central ni bi say unim say wo kọ baby e wo say wo share atade bia ya tro press particularly in an active crowd say be a demonstration na bibia now so wahye na mana easier ma central ni bi say police news say dem bi hu so empower central ni tanchen ma yenko nti emra na sense say nyina ya hye say ye ni so no eno so ye be stress enuanom no so no omo so ni so man na madwuma na ye mre ama ye nyinara.
Okay, and for omo ebejina akase okay say maybe sa argument no eba about the was central for so ehwe eye na aboa ye nyina and all of that no ebeka say no so the sha manfo bi kutupa to want to always attack in central for because a justification of a sort who is saying
be fear say my cassette is unacceptable.
Okay,
wrong. It should not happen. No much less so woni na nya dream po a wo kwan a fast to express it utumi chiro wo de utumi rejoinder usu utumi put out counterfeit utumi chiro utumi crampo ne kasa chense so menia story where we there wanye ni ye esan say sebi obi aka me ho asem wo publish a na me so nka afra me bisa me media na nka ayeden nka wo publish no wo publish bonkum ne nimfa ni na ebi obeka chiro so say ma publish usu nya odi a na aka chem na ma publish so menia maybe at the 6 o'clock when 12 o'clock inti nka uma balance right from the beginning nanka aboa nyina also to mix our agent channel but it needs to degenerate into violence and abibia But yeah, kind of say no. Now yes, answer to for say, of course. Then you know you was sudi. Even am the demonstrations. The example say to say yeah, demonstration. Centronia or cover. And then it was say or share. Now to me at the born home buying. Nampo se bibi kusipo a bambo for no crampo any amba so say Centroni bi kan ho a wo say ni mani me ehwe ne protect no. But what because I told the big crampo cover now wo cover no. In fact, when my main kai o maybe a chum nanko for a demonstration. Satam na me ankasa me ignore a Joy FM. Kofo bi a demonstration. Yes, ma kwala bi say on call report. One of my demonstration ni bi crampo na to share reporter no so. Se bambo for no any ni ho ehun say bia we are central ni bia na atade say ni say a ibi crampo o muntu mi crampo mo mani nko ho mo anyene. Obi kasa na me ni say o she police for ko 2% omunie to trust them debi nti adwuma dicey etin but ye moa ye ho na yentumi hwe na yenya madwuma na nyemre ma ye nyina
yenya we there are certain impressions near there was say yema unya opportunity to clarify once and for all. Number one, on social media, I mean, him say as part of government comms, any party comms, no, mofa social media and so very serious. The impression generally there, and it's government communicators intolerant. Say obi share dissenting opinion a man for at him to say the nipan akwaye bibi no. Is it something I'm more realizing? Money more communicators and ekasa. Now free say communicators nimum are now more aware. They would want to defend government with superior argument and all of that. Inanko for who say intolerance ana.
Obi ebi o mesan adawase. First of all, we say ebi mo asemo mo can say government communicators are intolerant. They are working. Majia to me to German's feedback. Ye call your communications meeting ye bedroom jane ho ne ahwe. Say additional DBU man was say ye share your communicators no or masemo mo kan ya there ye di ya ye be near to one more. But they tosum you know. Would you also agree with me, sir, increasingly and call for even sometimes show me a civil society group leaders? Obviously, be a president of a civil society group, and now a different language, any of my attacks, and now say commentary increasingly aggressive, sometimes even insulting language. What am I adding, sir?
Yes, I've seen a couple.
Yes, we are getting to a level, and I know that me no one answer me in your casa. We should work towards de-escalating. Sa nyamane mano sabe se opese ubisa asem bibia say bia nipa na opese ubisa na asem no wa fa telephone bia wa friend na wa bisa no babon se wo di kan wa betena Facebook ana wa a press conference na wa sesa efi e de asra opani no wa boni din boni aka asem ato no sis kwampo se opani no sebe kra de awo pa kan se obo mine kroro opani na wo kan ho asem no e bia na nya government communicators o obi so do sa apani no sani pa kroro no so twe ne pen wo Facebook ana ofa ne computer asem no so beto amane no asefem enye nyenu ni nanye whilst dia wadi kan me maka se material de beto yokotu gem ye ne ye mpanifo abobo ho ahade no. So what I've noticed is increasingly, no, it say me catch say and me ankasa mati central ni penia or ti radio so say abai actions in disagreeing with their union man say after you providing the police protection I so say baby asem ye kan NMC enkono central ni peni bi ti radio so and none of pay say useless other words go you see a crampo there minkai. But first one, because he useless